What's up, everybody? So today we are back in the garage working on the Explorer. Now unfortunately we have a little issue with it, and that is the Explorer decided to lower itself, which is not good, especially if you consider this being the off-road Explorer. Now we won't be lifting it or doing anything like that today. We're just going to go and fix what's broken, which I looked underneath there. It appears to be the shock and spring assembly. So we're going to replace all four corners on this thing, and I've got them over here, brand new in boxes. So let's go ahead, get the vehicle jacked up, put it on jack stands, take the wheels off, and see the damage that has been done on this side as far as the shock assembly goes, and then we'll just go ahead, like I said, replace the rest of them. So we got the wheel off now the way. You guys can see exactly what happened. So you can see the spring is completely down here. It's actually broke. The other piece of the spring is still sitting on the bottom of this perch. So that's not good. So the spring snapped. We're gonna go ahead and replace it with the new shock and spring assembly. So basically it looks like, to get this off, there's like 3 bolts up there. Take off this bottom one here. We'll probably have to drop the upper control arm just to get this to bend out of the way. Might have to pop out the sway bar end link as well. So we'll go ahead and get this all popped out, get this assembly that's broken out of here, and then put the new one in. Okay, so we went ahead, got those top 3 nuts off. So now that's out of the way. We'll go ahead, pop this one out down here, which, like I said, is a 24 millimeter. So once that's out, this thing should drop down. I would highly suggest investing in some ratcheting wrenches, just because you guys can see how little space I had to work with. And then doing like the double wrench up method helps to get a little bit more torque behind it. But yeah, let's see if we can get that bottom one out now. So we're gonna use 24 millimeter socket, breaker bar, and probably an extension, because it looks like that's gonna be on there pretty tight. So let's go and get that next. There's this little nut on the back side that keeps it from rotating, so just remember to put that back on when you go to put that new bolt back, or the bolt back in with the new strut. So got that out of the way. So now it looks like we're probably going to have to take off. We're going to have to take off this upper control arm. As you can see there, the whole strut assembly is moving with it. So once that releases, we should be able to push down the rest of the way and then slide this out. Okay, so for this one, to keep the ball joint from spinning, I'm gonna go put an 8 millimeter down here. This is an 18 millimeter bolt or nut. So we should be able to take this, go around here, then my little 8 millimeter can go there. We should be able to just pull. We'll just go ahead and hit this with a hammer, and it should separate. Sweet. All right, strut assembly is now out. Okay, so here is the 2 spring assemblies. This is obviously the old one we just pulled out of the car. You guys can clearly see there that the spring had snapped, rusted, and broke. So it is completely expanded all the way down to the bottom of the strut. And then here is the new one, as you guys can see here. Same exact design, same everything. Obviously it looks a little bit longer just because it is all brand new and not compressed, hasn't been under any load of any kind. So let's go ahead, throw this in the car, make sure everything lines up how it's supposed to, and that everything is good. I don't know if we'll have to take off the tie rod or anything like that to get this to snake in there, just because, like I said, this one was collapsed, so it was a little bit easier to, I mean, you saw I struggled with it, but it is a little bit easier to take out, so hopefully this one's not too bad. So let's go ahead, throw this in the car, and see how it all works. Okay, so honestly that wasn't too bad. I just basically went in through here, just tipped it straight down, went through the hole there, turned it sideways, lifted straight up, and then was able to get the top 3 bolts, or the top 3 nuts to set on place. So it is currently held in there. We'll go ahead, raise it up a little bit, slide in that 24 millimeter bolt through there with the little flag nut on the back side. This here, that way it holds in place and we can tighten it down. But yeah, honestly it wasn't too bad to slide that in there. So like I said, let's go ahead, tighten all this stuff back up, get the upper control arm back on, and then we should be good. So now you guys can see here, we got everything all reassembled. I went ahead, I put the jack underneath here to put some load on the suspension to act as if the wheel was on the ground. So I was able to tighten that up. This one back here, that strut bolt, looks like it's about 250 foot-pounds. This upper control arm is here, that's about 40 foot-pounds, and then these ones up here are 20. Can't really get a torque wrench or nothing up there, so just kind of as tight as you can get them. I know it sounds kind of sketchy, but they are lock washers and it should be tight, so we should be good there. So yeah, everything is all buttoned up on this side, so now we can jump on and do the other side. So you guys can see here we are on the driver's side of the vehicle. I just managed to get the strut and spring assembly out, but unfortunately when trying to get the upper control arm to release from the knuckle, it didn't work out so well. It actually separated on its own when releasing the nut itself, and then when I tried getting it to separate completely, putting the 8mm wrench on the bottom here and then using the 18 on the bolt here, the whole bottom piece just stripped out and now it's just spinning. So the only way to fix that, unfortunately, is to cut out the ball joint here, and when doing so we're going to need to replace the upper control arm. I don't think these are too expensive. I've done this once before on this vehicle, which isn't too bad of a job. There's just 2 bolts here, and then it just basically releases. But like I said, we're going to need to cut that out. It is separate from the knuckle currently. You guys can see it kind of moving around there. So we'll see if we can go get a new upper control arm from AutoZone, because I don't really have time to wait and buy something online. So see if they have any in stock, come back tomorrow, and hopefully finish up this job.
Tomorrow.
So it's currently the next day, just ran to AutoZone, picked up this part here. So this is the new upper control arm that we'll be using to replace. Got a brand new ball joint and everything in it, new hardware. So let's go ahead, come back over here to my mess, cut off that ball joint there, and then remove the upper control arm and have it all replaced. And now we got the ball joint out of there. So it's all cut off up there. We'll come in here now. There's 2 bolts back here. I believe they're like 21mm. So we'll go ahead and pop those out. Then the whole upper control arm should just lift up and over. Replace it with a new one, and we should be good. Okay, so now we got those 2 nuts off of the control arm. So it looks like we had to disconnect the ABS, which it comes up through here. It's sitting up on top here, so we'll disconnect that. That way we can get this control arm out of the way and then put the new one on. Okay, so the upper control arm is out. That is tight space to work with. I popped that clip out just to make some more room to get this underlining out of the way. So we'll put the new upper control arm in, and we'll put the new spring and strut assembly in, and then we'll have this side all done. Okay, so you guys can see there, we got the upper control arm in now. We need to tighten these bolts we just put in. So these 2 bottom ones here need to be torqued down to 110 foot-pounds, and then I went ahead and loosened up the ends just a little bit, just so this isn't like super tight. It's still movable. And then pop this off, slide in the knuckle once we get the strut and assembly put in. So we should be good on this side, but yeah, that's how you guys do it, upper control arm. Not a whole lot of space to work with, but we got it done. So you guys can see now, we got it all reassembled and all back together, retorqued, good to go. So we'll go ahead and throw the wheels on and put the front end down. And now the Explorer's back on the ground, front end is all complete and looking really good. I'm super happy now that the ride height is the correct height that it should be, no longer slammed like the 240 over here. So we have the correct ride height gap here. We will need to take this in for an alignment at some point, just because we just put all new suspension with the springs and struts, and then the upper control arm on the other side. We'll get to the back here at some other point. I'm gonna go ahead and end out the video here today, just because this took a little bit longer than what I wanted it to. I was hoping it only take me about a day, but having to wait overnight to get the upper control arm because that ball joint was bad, or I guess stripped out, it sent me back just a little bit. So I need to get this car back to my mom so she's able to daily drive it. At that point, when we're able to get it back in the garage, we'll do the rear end, and hopefully we'll do a lift kit on this. I'd really like to find a setup for that, whether it just be like a 2 to 3 inch lift kit on this. I think it would look really good. But yeah, so here it is, back on the ground, ready to go, ready to drive. Everything's all set. So If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. We got plenty more stuff coming. I finally got all the pieces for the Civic, so we will be going 5-lug and rear disc brake on that. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.